for this great opportunity. Yes, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully this is going to work. There we go. So thank you. Driving change and taking control. I think it's no surprise this last 12 months has been something that probably none of us had expected or foreseen. You know, there's a pretty hugely intelligent, smart, resourceful, forward-thinking bunch within the Nuffield, but I don't think anyone really saw a year like what we've had. And I guess I'm just going to talk through a little bit about my experience and my work, and maybe some tips and recommendations that I've been picking up along the way as well. I think we're going to do questions at the end, and obviously you can maybe hear at the back Pickles is already bored of my voice. Bear with. So who am I? I wish. So this was back in sort of January 2020. I did Saviour Associates, had been up on the go since 2014. The business model was working really, really well. I was super busy, you know, work booked always 3 months ahead. The year pretty much programmed and planned. I had a really great mix of clients from dairy, beef, sheep, agriculture, legal, education, accountants, vets, all sorts, all over the UK. I was regularly in the car, in a plane, flying around, because I thought, you know, that's great when you're super busy, earning good money, and life seemed pretty good, and really looking forward to a trip of a lifetime that I've been saving up for a wee while. I've been really lucky, been to Australia and New Zealand a few times, but this was to go to the triennial. And was also going to do a bit of succession reviewing as well, meet some succession coaches and different consultants in New Zealand, and have a good time. So off we went on the, I think it was the 5th of March, we flew off. We'd saved up, we were business class, we were with Qatar Airlines, and like a pair of kids in the plane, you know, turn left. And the wonderful, all the trays, the food, the way the seat moved, the bar in the back, life was just fantastic. Getting sunshine and thinking this was great. And then all of a sudden, 13th of March arrived. Thank God we'd actually got into New Zealand. We were in Christchurch, ready for the conference. And then lo and behold, everything shut down, conference cancelled. Oh, right, bugger, what to do now? So, well, we just carried on. We'd still managed to do a few more meetings, had more of a holiday, because some of the friends and things we were going to catch up with couldn't do, and the conference was put on hold, which was a real shame, but I was delighted. I did get to see Mike on one of our travels. And yeah, it was grand. Then all of a sudden the South Island was shutting down really quickly, and we had to quickly get into the North Island, and then, oh crikey, what we're going to do. And we ended up in a grain silo for a week, thanks to the very great generosity of a wonderful Nuffield scholar. And yeah, then thought, shit, this is actually getting quite serious, because our flight was still scheduled to leave when it was meant, I think, which was about the 15th of April. And then we started thinking, no, we better get home. So life changed quite quick. We came home, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, right, we had quarantine. And, you know, kind of licking our wounds a bit, because we hadn't really got the full trip we wanted. It cost us a bit extra money getting the different flights and everything home. But then also, you know, the reality of this was something, you know, it wasn't just a bit of a bug. It wasn't just going to go away. I had loads of work set to come back to, and my business model I thought was pretty good. But I started to realise, actually, this is quite serious. All the work that I had lined up was suddenly put on hold, postponed, some of it cancelled. Zoom then was just, I must admit, I'm a bit of a technophobe, but I've learned to love Zoom, and I've learned to sort of overcome it. But it was like, hang on, what is going to happen? And, you know, this flow of thinking everything was, you were invincible, you were Wonder Woman, you could do anything. And you start to think, actually, shit, what am I going to do? The business model's suddenly looking rather vulnerable, rather exposed. My income streams had basically dried up. There was a little bit still virtual happening. And I kind of described it a bit like the grief curve, and all those emotions that's in the grief curve: the shock, the denial, depression. On a good day I can sometimes go through all of those, but this was really real, because you thought, no, it'll be fine, it won't last that long. And then we got to, and I quite enjoyed some of the summer, because the weather was fantastic. I'm a real sun worshipper, so I was feeling a lot fitter because I was able to go walking. I wasn't 6 hours in a car, living in hotels and at airports and things, so I did feel a lot better. So it was all right. It was a bit of a novelty because I wasn't missing any work because nobody else was doing it, and I was enjoying the weather. And then in August, we're all set to have loads more meetings. Everything was kicked off, and I was like, right, I'm ready. And then boom, actually, Heather, we're not doing anything till January. And I was like, shit, this is actually really bad. And then I started thinking, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to work this way out? And yeah, and I started to think back, because there was some dark days. There was days when I was absolutely fine, and then there was the other times when you think, well, I'm not as unfortunate as some, because at this point an awful lot of people had been on furlough, and then maybe made redundant, and business was closing down, and I knew I still had quite a bit of different stuff, and it actually gave me a lot of new opportunities to be available to just at the drop of a hat say, yes, I can go and do this, yes, I can go and do that. And I realized that, looking back to my Nuffield, that success is no accident. And it's blown my mind away that COVID for some people has been an absolute game changer. And I've seen some neighbours of ours that's been really resourceful. Like, my God, they've been running at the seat of the pants, flying it, really tired, exhausted, but absolutely jumping at every opportunity that's come forward. And their business is absolutely thrived. It has been transformational. And I sort of started thinking about myself and sort of thinking, well, hang on, Heather, what do you care deeply about? And I read a lot of books and everything. And this was From Good to Great by Jim Collins. And I use this example quite a bit. And I started thinking, life is short. And I was speaking to some clients and some people. I said, well, and it's made you put things into perspective a little bit. What used to be really important, actually, is it now? And it's more about what you're loving, what you do, absolutely caring deeply and passionately about what you're doing. And if everyone around you is on board with that, it's brilliant. But it's really knowing your economic engine, understanding where your risks are, understanding where your margins need to be, understanding what the competition is, and understanding what the opportunities are. And I've learned a lot about that over this last time. It was always something I was aware of, and we talk a lot in a lot of our workshops and things, but my God, it really brought it home. And then being in the best in the world. And I've always sort of been a little bit skeptical of that, but I am quite competitive. And, we are only as good as our last job. And, it is a competitive marketplace. And I think the opportunities that are going to come up post-COVID are going to be massive, because a lot of people have said, do you know what, time out. So they maybe don't want to sell, but there may be going to be rental opportunities, share farming opportunities, collaborative ways of working. So what is your reputation? And that's something I'm really looking at now, is this is the time to rebuild, review, and really look at where we are. And, one of the messages when I did my Nuffield came home in 2014 was, to influence and motivate change, you have to have a vision. To take people with you, to achieve what needs to be done, you need to have a vision, a dream, a goal, or an ambition. And, I know the audience that we've got here tonight, I'm probably speaking, to the converted, but it's all well and good having a vision, a dream, or a goal in your head, but have you got it written down? And because if it's not written down, it's just a dream or a fantasy. And a dream or vision or goal that is written down is 80% more likely to come true, which is pretty good odds. And I must admit, I can vouch for that personally. So that's fine. You've got this vision, dream, goal, but you need to communicate it. You need to share it, because not many of us can do anything on our own. And people are not mind readers. And the great thing I've found in the rural community, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So if you want to expand, you want to grow, you want to retire, you want to bring in a new member of staff, most of the best opportunities are never advertised. It's what someone knows. So if you've verbalized it, what you're looking at doing, and then it's who you have around you. Have you got people that are around you that lift you up, motivate you, float you, that will help you, that have got your back when times are hard, that will see opportunities for you and will help push you over the door? And I think this is so true still. And I must admit, it was I did come back to this back in sort of March and April, and particularly in August, when I was starting to really question where I was going. I was thinking, hang on, what is your vision, Heather? How are you going to communicate it? Who do you need to be with? What do they need to know? And who do you need around you? And this is, one thing when I've been looking and speaking to some clients, because it's definitely brought a lot of reflection, COVID. A lot of people are suddenly thinking, well, hang on, what am I doing? Whether you've been made redundant or whether your children, COVID has actually made the most normal, rational, happy, contented people and individuals and businesses on the edge a bit volatile, questioning where are we? And I think, we are only here once. We only get one go. So what are your dreams? What are your goals? What do you want from your life? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? Where do you want to live? How do you want to spend your time? And that's one thing I have really looked at through this COVID. I no longer want to be working, flying up and down the country. And I've always said, I aspire to work, earn 100 grand on a 3-day week. And I am absolutely going to smash that, because I think you can work incredibly smart, and Zoom is just going to transform the way many of us work. For me, I miss deeply the personal meetings. I'd bounce off people, I'd bounce off energy of other people. But it's now to drive 6 hours to do a 3.5 hour, 4-hour meeting just doesn't make sense. So it is definitely thinking about how I want to spend my time and who I want to spend my time with. And I think also for a lot of people, it's made them think, well, what have I been putting on hold? Because COVID has demolished some families and some communities. And we've just had some shocking news this weekend of people that you would never have thought, wouldn't be here this time next week, next year, that just their whole world has been shattered. So don't put things off. Plan now. What do you want to achieve? And what legacy do you wish to live? Because life is not a rehearsal. And where are you at? And I do this, I do a bit of reverse budgeting, and I know some people have seen this, but I think, on the whole, we're born, the average lifespan at the moment is about 88. Where are you on that lifespan? So I'm going to be honest, I'm 49, I'm hanging on to that for a few more months. When are you going to retire? So I've never worked a day in my life. I'll get paid to live my dream, but I reckon about 70, I'd like to be taking it easier. So I'm over the halfway there. And I think, right, when I'm retired, how much am I actually going to need? How much do I want to live on? Because that has been a real eye-opener, coming back and suddenly realising mortgages, no income coming in, pensions. What if I'm ill? Who's going to look after me? So I'm reckoning when I am retired, I'm going to need, and everyone's different on this. I get some people that say, Heather, I could struggle to spend 6,000. And then I've got other folks that say, 100,000, Heather, that's what I want. And I know which one I'd rather retire with. So I'm going to want 50,000 a year. I'm hopefully going to live and cause chaos and carnage for 18 years. So when you add that up, I'm going to need, when I retire, £900,000. Now, a lot of rural and farming businesses that I work with, they tend to reinvest every penny they've worked and made back into the business to grow the business. And then suddenly when they get to retirement age, they think, hang on, oh shoot, where am I going to live? What am I going to have? But the sooner you can work that out, the sooner you start making these provisions, the more you have. So I've got 21 years of living the dream. And that means now, because I've only just realised today at 49 that I've no money, no savings, no nothing, to get that lifestyle and that retirement and to be able to be financially independent, I'm actually going to have to save 43,000 a year. So my business can be independent, my family can be independent, they don't need to keep me. I don't think they'd want to be honest. But that's quite daunting. But the sooner we realise and discuss this, and this is an exercise I do with a lot of my clients now, particularly when we're talking about succession or planning for the future. Do you know what you want? Do you know what you need? And are you ready to make the change? And this is one thing I see a lot of people, we moan, we whinge, we're hoping someone else is going to fix our problems, that they're going to sort it for us. But actually, it gets to the point, if you want it done, you've got to do it yourself. And you might not be popular, but if you have succession, you've got business changes you need to do, you need to take control. You need to have a time frame when you're going to do it and how you're going to achieve it. And you need to have an exit plan and a retirement plan as well. What if it doesn't work out? And that's one thing I've certainly given a lot more thought to since coming back in March. Have you done your numbers? And I know a lot of you guys here will be really, really switched on this, but it blows my mind how many people do not actually know how financially they stand. Whether you're a business owner or even in your own personal domestic arrangements, what's your mortgage? How much have you got left? What's your savings? What's your pensions? What's your partner's debt, borrowing, credit cards and everything as well? Do we actually know what it is? And then, what do we need going forward? And, and again, if you're looking at bringing a family member into your business, can you afford that? So really get to know your numbers and asking your family and your partners and your children, what do you want out of life? Where are you expecting to be? Would you like to be in the business? Do you want to go away? Do you want to travel? Do you want to set up your own business? Do you want to live here at home? Do you want to go away? Because too many people, we're either afraid of asking because we don't want people to feel pressured or uncomfortable, or we make assumptions. And, I think it's a good thing. And the sooner you can get families and a relationship that you talk openly about it. And, I'm really lucky to work with a couple of Nuffield scholars here that I know part of their family policy is that every year in February, which I don't know how they're going to manage this year, but they're a resourceful lot, they go away for a weekend and they review their goals and they talk about it and plan the next ones, which is absolutely brilliant. And I think that's a great culture to bring in, because if you are thinking about questioning where you are, and I think this year has really challenged a lot of people. Why are we doing what we're doing? Is it making us happy? Well, actually, do we need to look at doing something else? And, maybe it might be that we're going to sell the business. The kids are going to have to make their own way, because are they entitled to be given anything as well? So having an honesty meeting, and that can be difficult, but, the sooner you do it, the better, because then you can manage expectations. And, particularly if your business is having a challenging time as well, let people know, because it's amazing how resourceful people can be and supportive as well. And it does make me laugh when I work with some clients, it just is, what makes you happy? And you just look at them and you just know that's not a context that they're comfortable with at all. The miserable, the moan, the groan. So then I say, well, okay, well, maybe don't do happy, but what would make you even more unhappy? And they're often a bit more comfortable with that sort of chat. And getting people to feel comfortable being able to say, well, I would like to do this. I really want to do this, and not feeling guilty for it. Is a culture that can be brought into even the most constrained and unopen family, if that is an English word. Because there's one thing I've learned, there's some cruel twist of fate out there. There's people who've been ripped away from us, real good eggs that have got so much left in them, so much more to give, that just tragically aren't here or won't be here. And some people just live too long, don't they? Sorry. But we only have one life. We don't know when it's going to be our expiry time. So don't waste time. Live your life, love it, live well, laugh, and love what you're doing. So that really, is thinking about, because we will get through this. COVID is going to get over. There'll be something else we know. It's never always plain sailing. But one thing I've learned is all these people that have, we've got time. Let's think, because we're going to have these wonderful holidays again. We're going to go on these conferences. We're going to go and socialize. So let's make sure now, when we are in cabin fever, that we get our ducks in the row. And that's one thing I can't repeat enough, is a how-to manual, how to run this business, how to run this family, how to run this household if I'm not here, or someone that's really key in the family if they don't come back. Because we want to be having good times. It's not always about this being a sad occasion. So knowing about your business structure, if you're a sole trader, if everything is in your name, what happens if you don't come home to your tenancy, to your single farm payment, to your, your grants and different things like that? If you're in a partnership, is it fit for purpose? Have you got all the documentation? Is it signed? It's amazing how many partnerships aren't signed, or there isn't even an agreement. And if there's two of you and someone's ill or someone's old, that partnership is potentially going to get frozen if someone does die on it as well. So think about your partnership agreement. Limited company trust as well. If you've got family members that maybe are mentally or physically not well, to look after them. And it's another great way of actually managing transition and succession, but get the best legal advice properly. And really do invest in this. Wills, power of attorney, hands up who's got an up-to-date will and an up-to-date power of attorney. If you get nothing out of this session about planning for the future, please, if you haven't got it done, get it done. As soon as a basic will is better than no will. And I know I used to really struggle a bit about a will, because it was all right if me or the hubby died, preferably him first. Sorry. And but if the kids died as well, we just couldn't get through that. We just couldn't cope with the thought of all four of us being wiped out. But tragically, this does happen. And it was when I was doing a young farmers leadership program, I felt a real hypocrite, because telling people that you need to do this and we hadn't done it. So I went home and said, we are going to do this. And it's actually quite funny. Once you get your head around that you're all dead, it doesn't really matter. So you can actually have a bit of fun with thinking who does get the money, and more importantly, who do not get the money. And for me, young farmers was a massive part of my life, gave me so many skills and so many good friends that are still with me today. And Nuffield, huge difference to my life, Nuffield. So I have a legacy for young farmers, and Mike, you'll be thrilled to know there is a legacy to Nuffield. There will be some Savoy scholars hopefully down the line, hopefully not for a year or two yet. And also, the Highland Show, massive part of me. I'm a director, so there's a legacy to the Highland Show as well. So wills and power of attorney, really, really important. Have you got them in place? Who's your executor, as is important. And depending, because some of you will have some pretty big complex businesses, should it be family members, or actually should it be someone with some more business entrepreneurial skills to take the business and to coach and look after the family members? Property deeds, where are they? Whose name are they in? Mortgages and loans, where are they? Who are they with? What's the term that's left? Current financial records, bank account information. It blows my mind how many people, particularly even in domestic arrangements, that only one person does all the banking. And everything's now passwords. So where are the passwords? Where's the bank accounts? And I've got one client, you go in and just right there on the side of the computer, or just in the top drawer in a little black book that says passwords. One guy said it's in the safe, Heather, and only I have the key, which is great. But as long as you've got them somewhere, and if you don't trust your family, that's fine. You can have a bit of fun after your day and have a bit of a treasure map, so they find it, so nobody can get in there and change anything when you're still alive. But that is so, so important. Passwords for mobile phone, passwords to get into your electric and your telephone and your water companies. Have all of this listed. Your savings, where are they? Who are they with? Pensions, and all your debts and liabilities. And this how-to manual, this is going to be your liberating, so that you can go on your holidays, you can go on conferences, but also think about all the key people. If you've got a manager or a tractor driver, or all these other entrepreneurs and business people that you've got in your business, how much is in their head? Because we all multitask and we all just keep everything in here. And it has really frightened me, the COVID, viral infections, a knock to the head, a cycle accident. How vulnerable are you? And I've now seen these packs working. With someone's like the insurance company, Heather, I couldn't believe Mum had everything written down after being at one of your meetings. This makes a difference. So in your downtime, really, your family will pay you off. Shit happens book, how-to manual, whatever you want to call it, but please get that done. Goals, you know, what do we want to achieve? And for me, I write my goals down separately. So I've got some for me personally, I've got some for the business, and I've got some for the bigger picture, the family and everything. You know, and I really urge you to have some goals for 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, and write them down, because when your back's against the wall and you're fed up, you're stuck, and have them somewhere visible, so that you think, well, actually, you know, this is what it's all about. But be true to yourself. Are they real, and are they what you want? And you know, life is so much easier. That's one thing we definitely nurture with Nuffield, and I think what we've really missed with the conferences, with the, you know, the field trips and everything as well, because that's our time normally at the bar for me, you know, but cups of tea and scones, to really invest, have a blether and have a chat, and really invest in those networks. Keep positive. You know, I know myself, I've had some pretty sad, dark days over this last few months. And, you know, most times I go, oh, God's sake, Heather, it's ridiculous. You know, you've got so much to be grateful for. But even when we know that, I think it's okay to be a bit fed up and cheesed off, but keep perspective. It is a bad day, you know, and tomorrow's another day. Make goals, do one thing every day. So even if it's been awful, there's been a lot of rain, everything's soggy, you know, it's been miserable, do one thing at the end of the day. Write a little list, right? Well, tomorrow I'm going to ring such and such and I'm going to do this. Maintain an open mind. This for me has been great. I took part in the run 1000 for the mental health well-being in January, and it was great because there was some pretty miserable days, but it really made you get off your backside and get out. And when I get out around there, I didn't want to beat my personal best. I actually quite liked it when it took longer, because it meant I met people and had someone to talk to. But regular exercise, look after yourself, and it's okay to take time out. And I think that's one thing I've learned as well with Nuffield, with COVID, is that, you know, actually the rat race isn't always the way to do it. So these are some of my goals. I want to have a job that entails international travel. That's maybe just going out the village at the moment. A personal trainer, because I'm really struggling to balance the weight. But I tell you, some of these online things have been brilliant. A job that fulfills me. I don't want to waste time with clients that, you know, that don't fulfill me, that I'm not making a difference to them. I want to own a second property. That's all happened thanks to COVID. I took the bounce back loan. I didn't know what to do with it. I felt I hadn't really achieved much, so I bought a flat, as you do. Let my bungalow out, moved in with Loverboy, which was the biggest nervous step because I love my bungalow. So I've now got regular income coming in from the bungalow, from the flat, restructured the business. I've learnt new skills. I'm actually doing a lot on the farm as well, which I've loved. You probably see me freeze branding and things, and we're sorting heifers out today. So owning the second property, and now I want to own a property in Lawton at home. So me and the girls, we've always got a bit of Cumbria to go back to. So I just need to work on my brother on that one. If you know him, please nudge him. I want to be recognised as a specialist in my field. I love my job. And, you know, just to be recognised as Heather makes a difference, a positive difference. Bring her in. She's straight talking. But, you know, you'll know where you stand with her. And I really, really want to enhance that work-life balance that encompasses work, life and family. I don't want to take friends and family for granted. I want to keep developing and bringing young people on. I love my young farmers work, and some of the student work and things I do as well, and the leadership and mentoring. That gives me a lot of fun. And my motorhome, I wrote that down. I can't believe I've got one now, and the fun bus. And it has been one of the best things, and it actually saved my bacon on Saturday when I had a Zoom succession workshop to do, and the electric went off. Shit. There was a lot of other words used as well. So it was a sudden mad phone around who's got electric in the area, who doesn't mind if I park outside and use their electric plug, put it through the window, don't touch, COVID safe and all of that. But yeah, so the fun bus has lived its life. So for me, wrapping up, so, you know, how to be resilient, planning for the future, bouncing forward, is step away from the email. You know, on the phone now, we're available 24/7. Just say no. Finish at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, turn your phone off. What I tend to do is aim to wrap up half an hour before I'm finished, and then go through all my emails, list what needs to be done, outline, make a to-do list for tomorrow, and then turn the phone off. Be present when you go in the door. Work smarter, not harder. I am definitely embracing that. and leave work at work. You know, with a lot of our jobs, we think we're really lucky because we don't get to commute, but that also means you don't switch off. So it's really been disciplined with yourself, work time, and leave it, because it's too easy to just go back into the office. Forget about perfection. You know, we want to be as good as we can be, but actually sometimes good enough is good enough. And that really is a lot easier to learn, and able to trust people in delegation, because often they don't do it the same way as we do. But, you know, there's still a line, but sometimes good enough is good enough. Let it go. Don't be a martyr. Ease off the adrenaline. A lot of us, particularly us Nuffielders, we thrive on adrenaline, which is grand, but bloody hell, it can be exhausting for those around us. You know, so just be aware of that. And are you running and keeping busy because you're hiding from something else, maybe? So just watch that. Think about retirement. You know, are you here for a good time or a long time? But let's make sure retirement is fun, and have we put something in the bank and kept a bit of that for us? Make them wait. You know, everything is all in a rush now, and deadlines, and you want it tomorrow or yesterday even. You know, sometimes you just need to say, I'll get to you when I can. And set your own rules and be proud of yourself. Because, you know, has anyone told you, I think we're all really hard on ourselves, but you're awesome, because you are. And smiling. Even when you've had the worst day ever, a smile. I love this from Spike Milligan. A smile is contagious. You catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I walked around the corner and saw someone grin. And when he smiled, I realised I'd passed it on to him. I thought about the smile and then realised its worth. A single smile like mine could travel around the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Start an epidemic and get the world infected. Thank you.